Hello, this is Group Run for BDA 513's group project presentation. Our group was assigned standard deviations, a risk practitioner's guide to ISO 31000 in the 2018 edition. Before we get started, I just wanted to introduce everybody in our group. First off is Loretto. She is an international student from Spain, and she's an MBA candidate here at Stony Brook. A fun fact about her is that she is also on the women's tennis team here, and her sister is also a member. We have Ligo Wang, who is currently working at Brookhaven National Lab as a scientific operations director of the National Cryo-Election Microscopy Center. That's a mouthful. He has found the need to improve his leadership skills, communication skills, project management, and has a bunch of financial knowledge. And that's why he is also part of the MBA program here. And he'll be finishing up his degree this summer. My name is Shayna. I'm from Florida, and I'm also in the MBA program here, studying with a concentration in finance. I'm also a member of the Women's Lacrosse team here at Stony Brook, and I'll be finishing my degree as well this following summer. Next slide.
So I'm going to talk about the IRM. They are the top dogs in risk management. They are an independent non-profit group that helps business manage risk better so they can do better. They offer great training, research, and support to their members who work in all kinds of industries. Just remember, they are not like level up for any decisions made based on their gains. But overall, the IRM is where it's at when it comes to managing risk. Next one. In this slides, I will be discussing the principle of risk management outlined in IRM 31000. The purpose of risk management is to create and protect value. Next one, please.
These are two figures included in our case analysis of the chapter. Figure 1 is scope and design components of management systems. The management systems were created as a policy or process and a procedure for anyone in an organization to be ensured that they will be able to fulfill tasks that are required so they can achieve their goals, objectives, or their purpose. These will cover all aspects of the observations, including strategies, including rules, or a set pathway to produce products, services, and goods in consistent high quality with limited risk. Figure 1, scope and design components of management systems includes context to leadership to support. As you can see, they all are feeding into each other with context. Organization of the stakeholders, expectations, and scope of the management systems feeds into leadership, which has to deal with commitment, which feeds into support, which deals with resources and competence and awareness, which goes back to context. For figure 2, controlling and developing components of management systems, we have a 4-step plan that starts with plan, into implement, into measures, into learning, back into the plan as, I guess, a circle of ongoing innovation. With planning, management system objectives, and planning to achieve them, to implementing operational planning and control, to create measures that monitor, measure, analyze, evaluate, and audit and review, so we can learn corrective action and continual improvement to create a new plan moving forward. Next slide.
So the first 5 principles of risk management are summarized as PACED, and they focus on the design and planning of the risk management initiative. So the first principle is, which means risk management activities must be proportionate to the level of risk faced by the organization. The second principle is aligned, which emphasize the principles of aligning risk management activities with other activities in the organization. Next slide. The third principle is comprehensive, which means that the risk management approach must be comprehensive to be fully effective. And the fourth principle is embedded, which means that risk management activities must be embedded within the organization. Finally, the last one is dynamic, which means that the risk management activities must be dynamic and responsive to emerging and changing risk. Next one, please. Effective risk management is essential for creating and protecting value in organizations. By following the principles of risk management outlined in ISO 31000, organization can better anticipate, detect, acknowledge, and respond to changes. Next one, please.
The framework closely related to the principles. Effectiveness depends on its integration into all aspects of the organization, leadership, design, implementation, evaluation, and improvement. As I mentioned before in Figure 2, with controlling and developing components of management systems, the plans are always feeding into the next plan for future improvements and future risk-adverse ideas. There are three main components of this process: risk management architecture, risk management philosophy, and risk management protocols. With risk management architecture, it deals with committee structures in terms of reference, as well as roles and responsibilities, internal reporting requirements, as well as external reporting controls, and risk management assurance arrangements. Risk management philosophy is more of a way of thinking for individuals. These include having an idea of arrangements of embedding risk management, risk appetite and attitude of risk when analyzing, benchmark tests for significance of the situation, specific risk statements and policies, risk assessment techniques, risk priorities for the present year. Risk management philosophy is a way of thinking for employees or individuals of an organization to handle certain risk issues at hand and know what to do for the future problems that come to light. Risk management protocols are tools and techniques like risk classification systems and procedures that an employee could use, risk control rules and procedures responding to incidents, issues, and events, documentation and record keeping, training and communications, audit procedures and protocols, and of course, reporting, disclosures, and certification. With risk management protocols, it's a list of rules that an employee can follow or any company can follow when dealing with risk management and being able to idealize what is the next step and having a set plan of what to do when it comes to the risk control. Next slide. This is the 8-step process of the risk management. Number 1 is framework and processes should be customized and proportionate. Not every company is the same. Not every business has the same risk as the other individuals that be in the business. You wouldn't compare an apple to an orange, and that's the same for each individual that is involved in a company. Number 2 is appropriate and timely involvement of stakeholders is necessary. Stakeholders are always so different in any business. Not all employees have the same amount of responsibilities as other companies, so it would differ if we were comparing to company A and company B. Those employees' tasks or expectations differ, and we wouldn't be able to put the same risk management, philosophy into their company protocol. Structured and comprehensive approach is required in all business levels. Number 4, risk management is an integral part of all organizational activities. Number 5, risk management anticipates, detects, acknowledges, and responds to changes. Number 6, risk management explicitly considers any limitations of available information. In any situation in any business, they need all information of all claims of all history in order to make a highly educated estimate or a highly educated response of how they're going to tackle or how they're going to handle and adhere from risk. Number 7, human and cultural factors influence all aspects of risk management. And 8, risk management is continually improved through learning and experience, which is back to figure 1 and 2 of how they were controlling management systems, of how each step through the process is only way to get better throughout the company's history. Next slide. And this is just a visual representation of the 8-step process and of the risk management framework, risk management principles, and risk management process when we talked about philosophy, architecture, and procedure. You can see that with risk management framework, we have leadership and commitment being a big part of it, as integration, improvement, design, evaluation, and implementation build leadership and commitment. Then that goes to risk management process, and it shows kind of like a tier system for scope, context, and criteria when it comes to risk assessment, risk identification, then you analyze it, then you evaluate, and then you come to an agreement of what treatment you're going to do in order to handle the risk. Recording and reporting, monitoring and reviewing, and communication and conclusion also come to hand after risk treatment when it comes to either the insurer or the company figuring out what premium to pay, figuring out what future steps to take to adhere from risk, and figuring out what's the next step or next plan in order to keep going. And with risk management principles, value and creation and the protection of the process is fed by continual improvement, human and cultural factors, best available information, dynamic, inclusive, customized, structured and comprehensive, and integrated. These 3 main points of the process are what iOS 31000 has been successful and has been able to help employees and businesses and individuals be able to adhere from risk or be able to handle risk and have a better idea of what actions to take so they don't either make the same mistakes or they can play a safe, educated process. Next slide.
So just now you heard about what the risk management is, how to prepare it, the principles, framework, and the process. After all those steps, you need to form a formal document to document everything. It's good for future improvement and learning. So in order to do that, we need to follow a certain format. So this is called the Annex XL. It's a guidance on the format for management system standards. It provides information on the components that are required in a full management system standard. It includes 10 parts from the beginning: scope, narrative, relative, references, terms, definitions, context. Then it will be the real core parts: the leadership, planning, support, operation, perform the evaluation, and also improvement. So the compatible with Annex SL, so the ISO 31000 is a little bit different. You can see for the 10 different sections, for the section 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're similar, just scope, narrative, references, terms and definitions, context, and the organization. They're basically the same. But in section 4, there is a little bit different. You can see for 4.1 to 4.4. So it includes different components of the framework and the process. For example, for the framework, the component 2, the integration, it need to be included of all aspects of the organization. And the process component 2, the scope, context, criteria. So it should be included in section 4. For section 5, it's about the leadership. Then with ISO 31000, I need to include the framework component 1, the leadership and commitment, and also framework component 3, design. So it includes the internal and external context, roles, responsibility, and the communications and the consultation. Just now, Sheena give a good explanation of that component. The next section is the planning phase. So it should include the framework component 1, the leadership as mentioned, and also framework component 3. Now, if you go back to the section 5, you will see. So for they all include framework component 1 and the framework component 3, right? So that means from those two components, you need to split the corresponding components to different sections here, either the leadership or the planning. And for other sections, section 7 support. It covers resource competence, awareness, communication, and documentation. So it mainly include the process component 1 and 6, communication and consultation, recording and reporting. Those are really important. That's also why this document need to be created. For section 8, it's about operation. It's mainly about the operational planning and control. And of course, it should include the framework component 4, process component 3 and 4. And implementation, risk assessment, risk treatment. So that means when the risk, you need to identify the risk first, then develop the risk control plan. So all the steps need to be included here. After all the execution phases, then we need to do the evaluation, basically monitor analysis and evaluation. Sometimes the internal audit will be carried out, then higher management review need to be carried out too. So it includes the framework component 5 and process component 5, evaluation, monitoring, and review. That's really the monitoring steps. It will tell us whether all the execution operation will meet the standard. So if anything is wrong, it also need to be documented. The last section is is improvement. Definitely, we need to learn from our past. So whatever we think is successful or not really good, we need to write it down. This is mainly framework component 6 improvement. This one will really help us to improve. That's all about the format, the final documentation. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please just email us. Thank you.